Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what some reviewers would call the ugliest knife of all time. I present to you the Spyderco Matriarch 2. Yeah, this guy has certainly been designed in the dark, for sure. Let's see, we can kind of get a little bit of the elephant out of the room with this one. This is very, very, very much based off of the Endura 4. Same 3D texturing on the FRN. In fact, basically the only difference is that in the very middle it says Spyderco Matriarch 2 rather than Spyderco Endura 4. I could swap those two scales out. I really don't suggest it, but it's certainly possible, and then it would be very confusing for somebody. So, there you go. This guy is in VG10, just like your standard Delicas and Enduras, also made in Seki City, Japan, just like your Delicas and Enduras. And Endelas, I guess, those are kind of a newer concept to me. So I usually forget about them. So yeah, I guess I could talk about a little bit of the things that make basically a Endura or Delica 4, which would also make this the Matriarch 2, and that is the fact that it actually has screws on it. Believe it or not, the Endura and 2 and 3 didn't, they were all pinned. They didn't have screws, that you literally could not disassemble them. And while they do still have the stainless steel handled variants of these guys that are pinned, it used to be the whole range. Heck, the original Enduras and Delicas, they had a plastic molded clip that was part of the handle scale. So once it was broke, well, that was it. You needed a new handle scale. And you couldn't service that yourself, so yeah. It was a bumpy start for the whole pocket clip sort of thing, but they got around to improving it, and then everyone else decided that it was an awesome idea, and ended up taking it, and that's where we're at today. So yeah, this guy does have the David Boy dent on there for the mid-mounted lockback. Which I guess they say something about, if you bearing down a lot and you probably have your hand right around there, it helps to not disengage that. That was kind of a neat idea, but my hand is never there. However, I do appreciate it from being able to feel for where that lockback is. And in that case, I wish that all Spyderco lockbacks use them, and they don't. It's just pretty much the Delicas and Dellas, Enduras, and that's kind of it. I honestly don't know. They don't have it printed anywhere, but maybe they basically licensed the David Boyd dent to him, and it's only for those models, and they didn't really care to do it for others. Maybe it's because the lockbacks on those are in slightly different locations, so they don't feel the need to do that. But yeah, not sure. But it does feature it, and I appreciate it for closing purposes, because I can feel where that lockback is without looking at it at all. Next up, you can see that this guy's got an interesting notch here, and it looks suspiciously like something from another knife brand. Something like Emerson. Yep, they certainly licensed that out. They haven't done it for a whole lot of them, but they have done them for this, and then the Endura, and maybe a Delica that they've actually licensed out the Emerson Wave feature for it. And yeah, it doesn't look super attractive. I can definitely give that to a lot of folks who are looking at this aesthetically. But what I do have to say is that it's about as functional of a wave feature as I've experienced on basically any knife. I think it works a little bit better than the wave feature on the Emersons, generally because the liner lock with the detent just does have a little bit of a hitch that you have to get over, whereas with the lockback it's a little bit smoother. So to start that action, super easy, and it grabs really, really well in your pocket. I've tried, plenty of different people's methods of it, from the Emerson, like the CQC7, which, he was the inventor of it for sure, and does a pretty good job. The handles of those things will eat up pretty much any kind of pants that you might want to wear in about a month. So there's a little bit of downside there, but I guess they're getting a little bit smoother over time, a little less aggressively textured. But I've also used like the cold steel method that was put on like the AR-15 and the tie light. Those are two very different kind of wave featured type of things, but tried both of those quite a few times. And I've even tried to modify a Spyderco of my own into doing that by taking a Dremel and cutting from the hole to outside of the blade. I have kind of featured that at least once here on the channel with my Spyderco Captain, which is a very weird knife. And now it's hacked all to pieces. But it's mine, so what are you going to do? But yeah, this guy is very, very effective at catching your pocket, and it's a very smooth pull the whole way around because they do a pretty darn good job with their lockbacks, and you don't have a detent to get over like you do with liner locks and frame locks. On the other side of that, you do have to make a conscious effort to remove this from your pocket without it deploying. It's super easy enough to do, but you have to consciously make that decision instead of just grabbing it and pulling it up because, it's coming open on you. So, next up, kind of the origins of this guy. It has a lot in common with another much more expensive Spyderco, the Civilian, which the blade was about the same. The tip was actually thinner on it than this one, if you could even believe that. And it didn't have quite an extreme hawkbill going down there, but certainly did still have those curves and whatnot. And yeah, the Civilian was not designed for EDC in mind at all. They even have like a little warning in the package if anybody's ever seen a new one. It says, yo, this tip is really, really fragile. Don't use this for everyday carry. This is for personal protection and whatnot. And this one kind of falls in that same category. Like I said, the tip does have a little bit more strength to it there. Both this and the Civilian are fully serrated, and that's the only way they come. You can't get a plain edge version of that unless you want to try your hand at hand grinding out those serrations, which good luck with that. But yeah, so this was kind of designed as a very slightly downsized version of that. Made to kind of for a specific task of personal protection, but this was more or less in South Africa, the country of South Africa, where I guess ladies there have a very difficult time from time to time with all sorts of undesirable people doing things. So this was kind of designed for them to do that. It's designed, it's got, the nice serrations, it's got a very good hook on it. And you can notice that it doesn't have any jimping going on the spine here. It does back at the back lock, but nothing here on the spine. And, that's because you don't have a tip really, so you're not thrusting at it at all. This was designed for people who didn't have knife fighting skills or anything. It's not super tactical, but it's made to very easily harm and get people away from you and stop whatever they're doing. through slashing, and you can pull it back. You do have the 3D grip on there that holds onto your hand very, very well. Obviously, I think a lot of women down there would probably not have the clip on it so that they can carry it in their purse, or, well, probably only their purse, because most female clothing either doesn't have pockets, or they have the slit in the fabric and they're sewn up because they didn't want to put a pocket in there for, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I actually have used this for a very, very long time as an EDC. I do like that curve down there. This thing makes quick work of opening up boxes without, dipping a tip in way too far, because it's pretty easy to gauge that. And I do like a fully serrated blade from time to time when I'm breaking down cardboard. You have a much less time, or much less occurrences of cardboard kind of piling up and bunching together when you're trying to slice through it with a plain blade that might be getting a little bit dull or whatever. This will chew through that before that starts. So yeah, that's, I guess, by the way, also the reason why my Endura is fully serrated. Or, well, I don't know if Spyderco still calls it that, but at the time that I purchased this type of blade was called a Spider Edge because it was fully serrated. I haven't heard anybody refer to that in a long time, but that's what they used to call it. So there's that. Yeah. Taking a look on the inside, I really don't want to disassemble these guys, because I've done it once and I really don't want to do it again. Yes, they have made the screws there, so you're absolutely able to if you really want. But the lockback on this was very, very, very difficult to get back in and wedged and under tension correctly. Much more so than I've had with other lockbacks and whatnot. Now, that might also have been because I didn't really know what I was doing when I took them apart, but still, it is kind of a thing. But yeah, these have the Zytel or FRN handles. I don't think they're actually using Zytel name brand, which is why they usually refer to them as FRN or fiberglass reinforced nylon. Well, same difference. And these do have steel liners on the inside. Let's see. Yeah, you can see a little bit in there. And they have done a pretty good job on both sides of skeletonizing those liners. And you can see I also have some dust and whatnot. I should probably blow this thing out. That is kind of an inherent difficulty with lockback knives. Is well, it's easier for things to get caught in there. This is mostly just lint and whatnot from, whatever. It's because I've carried this for nearly a decade. And I guess the Endura and the Benchmade 940 and the Manix 2XL. You can call me crazy, but I essentially carried all four of these basically every day in my pockets. This guy would ride right front so that I could actually use the wave feature grade on it. This guy I would carry left front. And I've replaced the clip because I broke the original one. And, well, I tried to get a clip from Spyderco a couple of times, and they always wanted me to specifically call up the store, or the factory store, and purchase them over the phone. There was no way to do it online. And it really sounded like a pain in the butt. And I don't really want to take a trip to Golden at the moment, so I just ordered me a secondary clip for it. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a Lynch Northwest clip. Good old titanium. And it is deep carry. It's not my favorite, but it certainly does the job. So I would carry that in the front left, and then this would be right in the back pocket because that was very, very quick for me to get to. And The right side of the back pockets on most of my Carhartt pants that I end up wearing most of the time were quite out towards the side, so it wasn't, like I was sitting on this thing whenever I was actually sitting down. And the Benchmade 940, that would just kind of chill in my back left pocket. I do like this thing. Had it for a very, very, very long time. I took the blacking off many, many years ago with a belt grinder. But yeah, mostly kind of carried that for carried this mostly for fidget factor, because for a very, 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 very long time I had such difficulty trying to get this knife sharp in S30V that it was always dull, so I never really went for it. All right. Well, anyway, that explains kind of why this thing is just a little dirty and funky. It's certainly not a safe queen by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I do enjoy this thing quite a bit. It's very comfortable. Something that is a little bit interesting with the Endura style handles is that it kind of has that groove to have you grip them more back. You can choke up a little bit, but they are designed for you to be back from it a little bit. And between that and the Manix, probably why I end up using it like that and don't like to choke up on it so much, is because I'd been using those for so long. So that probably has a good reasoning behind why I don't typically care for large finger choils on pocket knives, because I don't use them. I'm much more comfortable being a little bit further away from the blade. If I do need to actually get up there, I generally don't like to use a choil. I like to use the pinch grip. And I've mentioned this in other videos as well. Just kind of gives me a lot more tip control and whatnot, and I feel very comfortable with that. And it's mostly how you end up using European chef's knives. So there you go. But yeah, that's about the only things I can really think of to mention about this little guy here. Like I had said, many people and reviewers find this to be absolutely hideous. And I don't necessarily agree with that. It's certainly not a looker. I'm not going to mince words about that. But I don't find it ugly. I find it, it's like another Spyderco, and it looks a little bit menacing, kind of like the Spyderco Harpy. Their hawkbill, fully serrated one for a lot of maritime applications for cutting rope at a length and whatnot. So yeah. All right. Well, I hope this one worked out a little bit better, because I had recorded this video once and I didn't really like the outcome of it. So I'm redoing that. So yeah, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and hope you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.